it's people, it's First Nation people helping First Nation people too. It's not just depending on the government funding. That's what he said. There's lots of First Nations that are living in poverty. If you look at the news, they don't have running water. They still got outdoor toilets. They do all this stuff. Some of it too is the leadership of those communities that they spend all the money and then they don't use it what it's for. And we see that through our political, when we meet with other First Nations across the country about how things are going. There's lots of programs that can help them, but sometimes they choose not to help. We have health centers here. We got two visiting health centers that lease from us. People have opportunities today. That's what I said. You can't live in where you're depressed and you're living from that era. You have to move forward in your life. I went through a lot of sexual abuse, everything in my life. And I went to a conference, I'm going to tell you this, in Sault Ste. Marie. It was a sexual abuse conference. Everybody's crying. This lady from Wiikwemkoong went up to the front of the podium. She wanted to speak and everybody moved aside. And she said, you know what? You can't keep living your life of depression, drugs, and alcohol because of what happened. You can never change that. You have to move forward. She said, I was beaten, I was sexually abused, raped. She said, I did anything that possibly could happen to me, happened to me. But you know what? She decided, I'm going to move forward. And I made up my mind when I heard her talk, I'm moving forward. I'm not going to live what happened to me. But you know what? When I have grandkids and my own son and my own children, I'm going to make sure they have a good life. And that's what I've done since then. And you try to preach that to other people in the community. It's not to say get over it. It's about how are you going to plan to move forward, to live a healthy life, and make your relatives, your children, your grandchildren happy and happy and happy. You got to make that choice, and if you don't make that choice, it isn't going to happen. You could get all the counseling in the world, and if you don't want to make any changes in your life and make it better, just like Cheryl's saying with her kids, she's making it better for her grandkids. That's what everybody should be doing. Not just sitting. I look at Facebook as a Facebook, I call it. And what you have on there is complain after people. I have a dog problem in the community. I dealt with it because I called the person. Or the chief doesn't do nothing about the dog problem in the community, right? Like, it's people just live like that. And I wish peace among all the First Nations, even the municipalities, that they would see that there's a better life to be negative. And if they can change that around, you will see some happy people in the communities. Or even if somebody's hurting from that residential school and that trauma that's coming back up, the band itself should be able to recognize those things and try to reach out and try to help those people. We need social workers that are going to do outreach and go into the communities to try to help people. You need preachers to go out to the community too to help people, right? They just don't want to get better. And it's sad sometimes that you have to deal with this every day at work. Like, it really actually takes the energy out of you when you're dealing with negative people. And you have a reason. You shouldn't be that sad over a dog issue when you have somebody sitting on this side that was sexually abused or re-traumatized themselves from residential. Your energy has to focus into trying to help over here, not worried about these little things in people's lives that, to me, is important to them, but it doesn't need to overboard your life on those things, right? Or you got feeders, they're just feeders that keep feeding the negativity. Somebody writes one little thing on Facebook, you got 100 likes on it, they call it, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it explodes. Then we're having to deal with it at a council meeting. So there's lots of strategies that people can do to get healthy. They just have to write something, to write something out there that can really help people to be happy. Life is so short now. You got cancer and all these diseases that people are getting. And people live their life just living miserable every day. Let's be happy. And it makes everybody's job easier.
And I think that is a great expression that Canadians need to hear, is that First Nations want things to be better, and that call that you just made for First Nations helping each other and helping themselves, that they need to understand that. And that's a great message, and you can say those things to your people. Those are not things that Canadians who are just on the periphery should just rattle off in a conversation over coffee or a beer and thinking that that's the solution.